Hello again and welcome to another Mordian Glory video. In today's episode, myself and Lieutenant Loki will be opening up a big box of goodies from Warlord Games. That's right, I've got my hands on the Konflikt 47 Rift Buster Mega Bundle. It is the biggest bundle that Warlord Games does for this game, and it is chock full of fantastic models and awesome things. So without further ado, let's crack this thing open. Achtung, conscripts! Warlord Games is now an official sponsor of the Mordian Glory channel. And not only that, they have given me an affiliate link which I have popped down in the description below. By using that link, you can get your hands on some awesome World War II bolt action miniatures and at the same time support the Mordian Glory channel. You have all of my ideas, so what are you waiting for? Do the right thing and buy yourself some bolt action today. Alright, let's not mess around with this thing anymore. I am very excited to take a look. In fact, I've already opened it up and had a quick cheeky gander inside, and it was very, very cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through. We're going to open up, take a look at every single box that you get in here, and we're also going to open those boxes up as well. And so you can get a bit of a preview of what you get in like the Axis Starter Army, the US Starter Army and stuff like that. So let's open this bad boy up. So the first thing that we can see here, we'll get to the Starter Army stuff in a moment, but the first thing you can see here is obviously the most important one. It is the proper Konflikt 47 dice bag. So you do actually get another dice bag in the normal Konflikt 47 starter set, but it's more of a starter dice bag. It's honestly, it's kind of a glorified glasses case, a glasses bag in many ways. So it's good to get you started, but for me personally, I like to get the proper Konflikt 47 dice bags, and there's two reasons for that. Firstly, actually, that's one main reason is I just like to have the proper bag. I have actually played bolt action for years with the dice bags, and I got away with using everything from generic sort of like little glasses case bags and stuff like that to also like actually using like a big woolly sock. And in the end, I actually finally bit the bullet and got myself a few dice bags for bolt action, and it does just make such a difference. It's just nicer. That's it. You don't need it, but I'm a bit of a snob, so I like to have a proper dice bag. So there we go. So we'll take our dice bag and put it to one side. I guarantee you, even though I got this one to be able to cover all the different factions, I'm going to end up getting each faction specific dice bag as well, just like I did in bolt action. But we'll put that to one side for the moment. We'll move our box across. So one of the other things that we get in here, and these do come with a little bits of foam in, by the way. I have cracked these open already, but you get little bits of foam to make sure the parts don't move around. One of the things we get is the Axis Reloaded Special Miniature, and that's basically just a special edition style trooper. Now, to make something clear, especially if you're someone who's coming over from like Warhammer 40k, this guy doesn't have like a separate unit entry, a separate data sheet as it were, and if you don't buy the Rift Buster Mega Bundle, you can't get access to it and you miss out on that cool unit. No, he's just an alternative sculpt. He's very, very cool, but you don't need him. He is an aesthetic choice. He's just a nice thing to have. So we've got one of those there, and what's interesting is we actually get two of those, and the reason we get two of them is you get the diorama base here, and so what you can do is you get two of these, and then you also get the American side of the diorama as well. And so what you can do is basically you can build this like a permanent thing if you want to have it as a diorama, but you also get a spare miniature if you want to be able to have the miniature in your army. As you can see, you don't need to commit to the diorama because it does have plenty of, it's like nice gaps, nice slots for where the minis can just go in there, so you can have them as part of the diorama or you can use them in your army. So essentially we get a couple of the special edition Style Trooper. We get a special edition Firefly model for the Americans as well. This guy is really cool. I'm actually going to open him up, and hopefully this will come up on camera all right. Just let me know if you can zoom in and see on that guy. It might take a little bit for the camera to focus, but you can see he has a pump action shotgun. Now it's kind of interesting because you don't actually get rules for that pump action shotgun in the game, but it very much reminds me of the Aliens film, the second Alien film, where you've got Corporal Hicks and he pulls out his shotgun and goes, I like to save this for close encounters. And I really do feel there's a bit of a vibe going on with that. So that's a nice little detail there. Now, all of these models here are made out of Warlord resin. Now, it's important to understand the difference between traditional resin and Warlord resin. Traditional resin is what you're used to with things like Forge World and stuff. You've got to open it up and you've got to put it in the soapy water and scrub it and all that kind of stuff. You don't need to do that with Warlord resin. I think it's a bit of a confusing name. They should probably give it a different name. It's something called Cyocast. I think D&D Miniatures used it for forever, but don't quote me on that one. But essentially, it's like microplastic injection molding. It's very, very interesting. I've actually done a video on this already when I've covered the Warlord Open Days. And essentially what it does is it allows you to create models with the detail of resin models, traditional resin models, but none of the messing around of traditional resin. And essentially it's like plastic. Now, I don't know if you can use plastic glue with it. I use super glue with them, but essentially it's all of the benefits of resin with none of the downsides. It's very, very nice. So whenever you see anything in Warlord resin, that is actually should be given a big thumbs up. And it's actually it sounds crazy, it's actually probably my favorite material to work with now. It's very, very nice. So just in case you guys didn't get a nice close-up of those miniatures, you can see we've got the different ones here. That's the special edition Style Trooper. We've got another one of those. As you can see, I haven't messed around with this one, so you can see it does come with the foam to make sure that it's nice and safely protected. And then we've also got that special edition Firefly model as well. And then you can see the diorama base here. You've got those slots. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to get our hands on here, I know I'm blue balling you guys. We're going to get to the big boxes in just a moment. But the next thing we're going to get here is the full-sized hardback rulebook for Konflikt 47. And let me tell you, this is a beautiful book. It's really, really nice. So I'm just going to say something, right? When I got the Riftbuster Mega Bundle, I was a little hesitant because I was like, hey, I'm getting a starter set in here. Do I need this? And I've opened this bad boy up. I've had a flick through it and it's honestly so nice. So it's got a slightly embossed front cover. You can feel when you run your finger over the top, you can feel these letters are very slightly raised all the way. You also get the bit of, I don't know what we call it, tassel, the string, the page saver, as it were, page marker. It's even down the spine, it just feels nice. And you can see it's got like the K47 there and everything. And then on the back, it just, I don't know, it just feels very, very, very nice. And then if we just open it up, one of the big advantages of getting this book is it's in a significantly larger font. When we look at the small mini rule book that you get in the starter set, it's perfectly functional. All the rules are in there, but it's a mini rule book, so it's got mini text. So if you're someone that has glasses or has seeing problems and you need things in a bigger text, I do recommend this purely from a practical point of view. But honestly, I can't stop myself. Just going to give it a big sniff, right? Honestly, just even if you're someone who has 20/20 vision, this is just a really, really nice book. There's lots of care and attention that's been put into it. All the models are really nicely photographed. It's just a rule book, but all of the little things are there which just make it pass the vibe check. And so even though I was a little hesitant because I was like, I don't really need 2 copies of the rulebook, I'm actually really glad I got this. And this is probably going to be my go-to version because the micro one's nice, but this is better. So this is going to be my go-to rulebook. The micro one's going to be my backup. Might even give it away to Salty Simon, so he's got a copy as well. So that's the rulebook. That's all the accoutrement, as it were, but let's get to the real reason why you guys are here. Let's get into the models. All right, so the first box that we're going to look at is going to be the Konflikt 47 starter set. It feels like it's the natural place to start. I mean, it is the starter set. And also for a lot of people that are getting into this game for the first time, the starter set is going to be the natural place where they gravitate to, because the great thing about the Konflikt 47 starter set is it contains absolutely everything that you need to get started in this game. Apart from, you will need some glue and some clippers and a hobby knife and paint and stuff like that. But in terms of all the models, rules, tokens, everything, it has it covered, and it's a great place to... It's a great starter set to split. Now, if you get it as part of the Riftbuster Mega Bundle, it comes part of that. But on its own, it's actually about £95 new in box from Warlord Games. You can get it for about 20% off from a lot of third-party retailers, where it comes in at about £78 or something. And as you'll see in a moment, this is a lot. This is a lot of bang for buck for 78 or £95. And if you're splitting it with a friend, you're going to be spending well less than £50 one way or another to get the stuff that's in here. So it's a really, really good jumping off point. So we're going to open up this bad boy. Oh, there we go. Now, first thing I want to say, the artwork. Now, I'm not going to completely wank this off, but I am just going to say one thing. If you saw that in a shop, you'd probably go and pick it up and have a look. And that's one of the things that I think Warlord has done really well with Konflikt 47, with this, what is essentially relaunch, rebrand. They've made the boxes that look very modern. This doesn't look particularly retro like a lot of the bolt action stuff. It looks very modern, it looks proper, it looks professional, it's very eye-catching. So I really like that picture right there. And also, I quite like, this goes on like a little thing, I know I'm talking about the cardboard here, but I like, it's the little details, like the fact that you've got the rift signals on the sides. Very, very cool. So, first thing we'll take a look at in here is going to be the dice bag. So like I said, this is just the freebie one. This is the one that, absolutely you can get your hands in there and pull your order dice and rift dice out there. But you can see it's smaller than the proper one. It's just a fairly basic drawstring bag. It's not the same quality of material. It's absolutely fine. It's a freebie. It's a starter bag. It is what it is. But this is why I said I like having the proper ones. Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy. Hefty, hefty, hefty. All right, so we're going to put that to one side. We'll put it here so we can see the contents. Then we get the micro rulebook in here. So actually, we'll put that bubble wrap down there. So you can see it's just a much smaller version of the main rulebook, but it does contain absolutely everything the same. You're not missing any rules or anything in here. I think they've even got all the artwork and stuff in here as well. Pretty certain it's basically a one-for-one of this. It's just in micro form. It's also paperback, and this is just printed. It's not embossed. These letters don't feel lifted up or anything like that. It's just a very handy pocket rulebook to have, and either you can just put that in your gaming bag when you are going to a game in the store or something, or you can just it can just sort of tuck away somewhere on your desk. But it's just a nice, small, handy rulebook there. But it is definitely a bit more basic than the real deal. You also get in here your double-sided paper battle mat. So this battle mat here, it's not neoprene like the ones that you see us using the battle ports, but again, it's very handy for if you're just getting into a game like Konflikt 47 for the first time. But also, it's quite handy to have if you've never played a tabletop game before. Got to think this starter set is aimed at essentially two different markets. You're aiming it at people who are coming over to Konflikt 47 from another game system like Warhammer 40k. You're also aiming at people who this very well may be their first tabletop game. And so it's nice that Warlord includes something like this. It is double-sided, so you've got mud on one side and you've got urban ruins on the other side. It's a little basic, straightforward, getting yourself started battle mat. And then we get to what's underneath here. Now again, small aesthetics thing. I just like that this sort of paper separator here has that Konflikt 47 logo on. Just imagine you're opening this box for the first time, and if you're someone who's totally new to this game, you get out your little paper thing, you get your rulebook out, you get your dice bag out, and then you're ready. You know we're entering the game now properly. So we're going to take that off, and underneath we have the goodies. Now I'm just going to quickly show you guys what's in here, but I'm going to be doing a proper deep dive on this starter set and on both of these starter armies in separate videos. This is just to give you an idea of what you get in here, and just to give you an idea of the volume that are in these box sets. So we get two more special edition figures. Again, these are unique to the starter set, but again, they're just aesthetic things. So you get a Style Trooper commander and you get a Firefly officer as well. You can use plastic Style Trooper models to make a Style Trooper commander. Again, these are just aesthetics things, they're not unique data sheets or anything like that. You get that. You get your dice bag. This is the this has the order dice. So you've got green for the Americans, grey for the Germans, and it got your rift dice in here as well. Green for the Americans, grey for the Germans. And you even get some little D6s. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. These D6s, they're just little and they're just a bit whatever. But what's funny is I actually quite like them. Even as a veteran player, I quite like them because they're quite small and handy. And I end up using these as wound markers or like points trackers for things like guts points in game. So they're good if you don't own any D6s, but you'll find them just handy even if you're a veteran player. So we get our little paper sheet here. Basically it says, do you need more models? Come to Warlord Games. Fair enough. And it also has a digital field manual. This is actually quite helpful. It will take you through how to build your models. There are assembly guides in here, but it'll also it'll give you like suggested loadouts and stuff, and it'll give you some introductory missions so you can go through learning how to play Konflikt 47. So this is quite nice, getting a digital version there. We got our pin markers. These are very important if you are familiar with bot action and by extension Konflikt. These are for representing units that are under heavy fire. 32mm bases. Those are going to be for the Style Trooper. Speaking of which, plastic Style Trooper and sprues. I have built 6 of these guys already. Warlord Games very kindly sent me some preview models, and they are an absolute dream to go together. I don't like constantly comparing Konflikt to something like 40k, but I think it's important to do so here, especially with these guys being power armored bozos. These are basically like Axis Terminators, and they are unbelievably easy to build. You glue that bit to that bit, and then that on top, and you're basically 90% of the way there. Then you just choose your weapons. It's very, very simple. So we get 2 sprues of Style Trooper. Then we've got the American Fireflies, 6 men on each of those. So there's 3, you can build 3 Style Trooper from each of these. You do get 5 sets of legs, but you only get enough to build 3 bodies. But I bet some entrepreneuring person will quickly figure out how to like 3D print some extra bodies or something there, and you can end up getting more bang for your buck. Or maybe Warlord will sell some spare Style Trooper bits, I don't know, but you get 5 legs and you get enough weapons. The only limiting factor is those bodies. So if we can as a community figure out how we can get a few extra bodies, that would be great. Then we've got the Fireflies. You get 6 to a sprue on here. The limiting factor here is, I think it's the bodies again. Yeah, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But you do get a few spare sets of legs and stuff. So again, you get more than enough here. The only limiting factor is the body. So if you could get a few extra one of those, you'll be able to eke a few more, probably 2 or 3 more Fireflies out of each one of those sprues. So you get 2 of those. Vogel Spinner, German mech, unbelievably easy to build. It's only about 1.5 sprues. In reality, if you take a quick look here, you'll see that all this bit here is basically the legs. And the legs are just in 2 parts. You basically take that's one side, that's the other side, you glue them together, and that goes together, that goes together, that goes together, that goes together. So it's very well ergonomically laid out. So all of this basically goes together. And then most of what you see on this sprue is actually turret options. So, basically all that is turret options. So all you really need is 1 sprue and half a sprue. It's very, very quick and easy to build. You'd think, looking at something like the Vogel Spinner, with how spindly it is, you'd think it would be a nightmare to build. But I'm telling you this now, I think it's important to mention this at this juncture. I bought this Ripbuster Mega Bundle. It wasn't sent to me by Warlord. I bought it with my hard-earned cash. We did a whole thing in a live stream, and the community, they helped get the money for it, which is absolutely fantastic. This is fan funded, so I'm giving you my honest opinion. I'm not giving you like I always had it for free, so I had to say something nice. So everything you're hearing now is my honest opinion. And let me tell you, the Vogel Spinner, I built this in about 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. Unbelievably easy to build. The last major model we get in here is the Linebacker. Now you can see this is a bit more of a beast than the Vogel Spinner. It does come on three sprues, and again, but it's more like 2.5 sprues, because this sprue that you see here, all this bit down here is your weapon options. So if you take that away, it's 2.5 sprues. And what you find is you basically do, what I found is you do all the parts on one sprue, all these middle parts here, and then all the parts on the final sprue, and then it all comes together. So you very easily transition from one sprue to the next. It's very smooth and ergonomic building process. Okay, finally we get the terrain. Now, it's actually a deceptively decent amount of terrain. When I first saw the picture of this, it'll be on the back of the box. I wonder if I can show that up. When I first saw the picture of the terrain, I didn't think it was all that much. But when you actually pull the sprues out, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 sprues. So it's not a bad bit of terrain, and it's quite straightforward. It's basically 4 corners, four or 5 corners of a building, each one. So it allows you to build some little ruins to basically fight over. You could very easily put these on something like an MDF base and get 2 basically ruined houses out of it, and that'd be very, very simple to do. Finally, that's your canopy for your linebacker. Templates, so bolt action does use templates. You'll need this especially for the Vogel Spinner's Rift Gun, and you get these little tokens. These tokens are for things like, is it hidden, is it immobilized, have you got a turret jam, little status effects for some of your units, especially things like your vehicles. You get your bases for your fireflies. That's a big MDF base for the Vogel Spinner. I didn't bother basing mine. If you wanted to, you can do. A couple of spare bases and stuff in here for things like the Style Troop and Bozo. There you are. And then we get, of course, the most important bit. We find out who packed it. So big thank you to Morella there. And then this is actually quite exciting. I quite like this bit. Oh, actually, this is what I really like. Transfers. You get 4 sets of transfers in here. And I didn't used to be a big transfer person, but I am now. Now these ones look especially small because they're head for the US. They're meant to go on like your Firefly, like shoulder pads and stuff. But if you take a look, you can see that the ones for the vehicles are a lot bigger as well. So very, very nice. I've been using a lot of Warlord transfers recently, and I'd say I've been very much enjoying them. I mean, the transfers are transfers at the end of the day, but it's nice you get so many in a kit. And then we have the assembly guides. This is really the big bit here. So you've got US Firefly Squad Assembly Guide, Vogel Spinner Assembly Guide. The biggest one is the Linebacker Assembly Guide. That's the biggest model in the kit. That one will probably take you an hour or 2 to build. That's more like 20-30 minutes to build. Firefly is reasonably long because there's 12 of them, so probably maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours to build those guys. But I tell you what, I think this is the funniest assembly guide that's ever been produced. It's so thin. It's almost unnecessary because the Style Trooper is so easy to build. But I appreciate Warlord making an assembly guide. But if we show you, so this is just your health and safety bollocks, right? Like, you know, don't let your children like eat the plastic and stuff like that. This explains the different parts on the kit. And then that's your assembly guide. It's 2 pages. So you get 2 pages. Like I said, glue the 2 halves of the body together, put the plate on the front, put that on the legs. You're 90% of the way there. And then it's like, hey, which arms would you like to put on the model? And then just this bit here is just kind of showing, you know, I mean, it's almost unnecessary because this shows you the arms that go on here. This shows the arms that go on here. This is just a nice little, hey, look, here's how you can glue some of the extra bits on, like spare magazines and stuff like that. But strictly speaking, you don't need this page. You can pretty much do the whole models just with these 2 pages. And frankly, you don't really need an assembly guide for these guys. They're unbelievably easy to build. It's I have to say, going through all of these things, it really is just a breath of fresh air seeing like how straightforward these models are to build. If you've built anything from Warhammer 40k in the last 5 years, you get you get assembly guides which are the size of a small buck, size of a small thesaurus, and they're very, very intense. These are very casual, very straightforward, with some of them being almost unnecessary. The only one that the only one I think you need is this one. I think the rest of the models are relatively easy, that you probably don't need the assembly guide, although the Vogel spinner one you might need for one or two of the tricky bits. But the infantry almost certainly don't need them. But it's good to have, it is good to have these, because if you're someone that's not used to Warlord kits, there are a few idiosyncratic things that you pick up after building your first few models, but things you won't need in the long run. So these are to help you, just a bit of a guide, bit of a confidence thing, and these are the ones you probably actually need. But overall, I'm not poo-pooing them. They're absolutely fantastic, and it's good to see getting full assembly guides for all models with this game. Definitely sets a good precedent. Okay, so we've had a look at the starter set. Now let's look at the faction-specific starter armies. And we'll begin with the United States. Now, it's important to understand the difference between a starter set and a starter army. Starter sets, this is something that's very common across all of Warlord games' game systems, will contain two factions, and they will contain the rules, like the rule book, and they will contain all the tokens and all that kind of good stuff. Starter armies don't contain all of that extra accoutrement. They basically just contain models. So the only thing that we're not going to get any rule book in here or anything like that. We're going to get models, bases, and that's it. So this is how you sort of start the game if you're brand new into it. And then both these starter armies are fantastic second stages if you like what you have in here and you want to expand your armies out from just little small starter ones to full ones. Go from here, get yourself a United States starter army if you go in US, or go for an Axis one if you go in Axis. So just models in here is the main takeaway. All things, rules and everything in the starter sets. That's enough waffling. Let's break into this bad boy. So we've got the lid, contents, all that kind of good stuff. You'll notice we haven't got the sort of separator here. This is much more no nonsense. Let's get straight into it. You do get dice and order dice. Now, what's rift dice and order dice? This is actually unique. Most bolt action starter sets, you don't get those. You get loads of models, but then you sort of have the hidden cost is not the right word, but additional cost of you have to go out and get your order dice. What I really like about these Konflikt 47 starter sets is that they're very, very beginner intro focused, because it's like, hey, you don't need to go out and buy yourself some extra things. Everything you get for your expansion is in here. So between the order dice you get here and the order dice you get here, you're going to have plenty of order dice and rift dice. You probably wouldn't need any more for your US. So we get some order dice in there. I'll tell you what, let's just do that. You get some order and rift dice. You get another, again, you get a lot of unique models here. Another unique Konflikt 47, this is a veteran Firefly. You can use him as a platoon officer. He's made out of Warlord resin. Should have said before, in the starter set, everything is made out of plastic except for those unique characters like the Style Trooper and Officer and the Firefly Officer. Everything else is made out of plastic. Likewise, this is actually there's a bit more resin in here, but we'll get to that in a moment. So he's made out of Warlord resin. Again, just a nice little aesthetically bonus model. We also have a linebacker in here. We've already looked at those sprues. Another linebacker in here. A couple of MDF bases for them if you want to. Again, you don't have to base your mechs. I think it's like a nice if you do base them, but some people base them, some people don't. It's fine. Now, what we also get in here is we get some of those decals. We get the assembly guides and stuff. But what else is new in here? Well, let's move these bases to one side. Firefly, so there's two linebackers, two Fireflies in here. But what is new? Well, basically, what we've not seen before is going to be this guy and this model. So this is your Stuart. This is your Stuart tank. Now, this is essentially a bolt action Stuart. So it's just two sprues to build the whole thing, and you will get everything here that allows you to build a Stuart in the game of bolt action. So you'll see you've got the this is how you start building your turret. You've got this little tube here is your light anti-tank gun. So this is a full bolt action kit. There's nothing been taken out. It's a full bolt action kit. And then to turn it into the Tesla Stuart, we've got this. This is your M5 Stuart plus M21 upgrade kit. It's made out of Warlord resin and resin. So there's a little mixture here. There is some traditional resin in here. So the Warlord resin parts come in a separate bag, and they are just these little bits of accoutrement that stick onto the turret. But the turret itself is made out of traditional resin. So let's just bring that close to the camera for a moment. So this is made out of traditional resin. You can see it's very, very highly detailed. It's all in one piece. Just a couple of gaps where, like we said, that accoutrement was going to go. But it's very, very nicely detailed. And I really, really like... There's a couple of bits I just want to talk about this for a moment. If you've ever dealt with resin models in the past, they can be a bit of a nightmare. Especially somewhere like Forge World, right? Bendy bits or bendy bits all over the place, right? It's a nightmare. And you have these big, you have flash everywhere. So there's all this flaky shit all over it. And you've got these big nubbins sticking out. And they just feel so greasy as well. I used to be really, really, really put off resin. The moment I saw resin anywhere near a kit, I was like, no, I'm not going near it. Warlord Games... This is just my experience, but I think they make some of the best traditional resin models out there. They have really stepped up their game. And they've not always been this way, but what I think they've done is they've gone, okay, we're going to need resin as part of our production lines for making like upgrade kits and stuff like that. So let's actually get good at it. And I've had some old Warlord resin, and it was fine. It was decent, nothing special, nothing to write home about. But the latest stuff that they have been putting out is a step up. The detail, the quality, the care and attention, and it goes on crazy. And you won't be able to see this on the camera, but there's a little underneath. You've got the description of the part. So it says K47 Stuart upgrade kit, right? That font is the same font as that. The slightly spiky font. It's such an unnecessary attention to detail. It's so unfathomably unnecessary, but it just goes to show that at every level, thought has been put into this thing. From giving a shit about how you make the resin stuff, so there's no bendy bits. Any bits that would likely warp and bend, we'll do that in Warlord resin instead, because that's a bit more of a forgiving material. So we get all the detail, none of the drawbacks, and just little details like the font lining up. Just gives me a good feeling about this whole thing. Last but not least, we have the Axis Starter Army. This is going to be very similar to that of the American Starter Army, in that there's no rules or anything in here, and instead you are going to just be getting models. So straight up, we have got our Nactal band. Now these are actually made out of Warlord resin. So they are the weird mutant guys in the front here. They're not made out of plastic. They're made out of Warlord resin, and they are unbelievably nicely detailed. Very, very, very cool. You also get the officer in here as well. So this basically contains all of your Warlord resin stuff there. Fantastic. And then we've got a sprue, a Style Trooper, and the bases for them. And we've got our Vogel spinner. We've already seen that from the starter set. So that's the same as the starter set. That's the same as the starter set. These are new. It is worth mentioning, this unique Style Trooper guy is different to the ones that you get with the Mega Bundle, the reloaded stuff. And they are different to the ones you get in the starter set. So this is another unique sort of platoon commander model. And I have to say, this one might be my favorite. He's very, very cool with his cape. And I think it's the cape and the helmet. It's very, very nice. So like this guy, very, very nice. Love that. And then we've got the Panzer IV. So a bit like with the Stuarts in the US Starter Army, this is a full-blown Panzer IV. So you are going to get everything you need to build a Panzer IV. So what's kind of interesting with this is this is basically 3 models in one. This one between these bits here, you actually get to sort of build 3 models in one. So first up, you can just build a bolt action Panzer IV. That's it. There's no missing parts here. You can just do that. second thing you can do with this is you can build this with the tracks, and you could like magnetize the tracks on if you wanted to or something, but you can build this with the tracks, and then you can pick between the Konflikt 47 Panzer IV, which has got tracks, and the Konflikt 47 Panzer IV, which has legs. And so it's actually, you're getting 3 kits in one here. It's very, very nice. Because some people, if you're wondering what's the difference between the leg Panzer IV-X and the tracked Panzer IV-X, basically comes down to speed. The Panzer IV with tracks is slightly faster, but not as good in melee combat. The Panzer IV-X with legs is slower, but is better at squashing people because it's got legs. That's basically it. So you get all the plastic bits for your Panzer IV there. Usual rift dice, order dice, worth mentioning. Decals, and of course you get all of your assembly guides and stuff in here as well. Including there is a Panzer IV assembly guide in here as well. So then we get to these are the 2 upgrade kits. Now it's a 2-part upgrade kit. The first bit we've got here is made out of Warlord resin. So this is the legs. So the 6 legs that you get. Now I'm just going to bring this close to the camera again. Now these are very, very, very nicely detailed. They're one solid piece. The detail of resin models, but they're made out of Warlord resin. Now remember, you don't need to wash Warlord resin. This has got very little cleaner. Maybe just a little nub in there, but that's about it. So you get 6 legs in here, and there might be a few other little bits. Let me just get them out. I've not actually seen this yet. Okay, yeah. So you get. I'll just do this from a distance. You get your 6 legs, and you get some connecty bits to make it easier to, I think, connect those onto the hull, and it makes them more posable as well. You see you've got those 2 parts. So you've got the leg and then the bit that helps you stick it onto the hull. You also get a couple of grates, vents, and you also get, this is the gun, the main gun, the Schwerweld projector, and you get the searchlight. So this is all in Warlord resin. And then this is in traditional resin. So this is like a 3 material kit, which is kind of interesting. I've not seen that before. But look at this. I did have a cheeky look at this earlier before doing the review. So look at how clean this resin part is. When I say there is no flaky shit on here, when I say there's no big nubbin bits, when I say that Warlord Games makes, I think, the best traditional resin models that I've come across, especially in recent years, especially with this launch of Konflikt 47, I'm not exaggerating. Yeah, it's a simple thing, but it's just, it's still there, it's still very nice. Now, this is basically where your legs would stick on. So I don't know, I haven't built this yet, but I imagine what you would do is this would probably just glue on the bottom of the Panzer IV hull, right? And so that's why I'm saying with a few magnets, you could probably get 3 models out of one here. So you can magnetize this bit and the legs, so that way you can choose to use it as the walkie leg version, or you can then not have this on, magnetize your tracks onto the side there. Then you've got the tracked version, and then you don't have to use this turret. You can use the turret that comes in the Panzer IV kit. So relatively easily you will get 3 models out of one here, and it'll allow you to pick between, do I want the walkie Panzer IV, do I want the track Panzer IV, do I want it with the grav cannon, or do I want it with the traditional heavy anti-tank gun. And then the last part we've got here is the Rift Panzer IV turret. So this is for your Schwerweld projector. Now the Schwerweld projectors have actually changed. If you're used to the old ones, they had that sort of big eyeball looking thing. They've actually changed that now. Both variants are the same. In lore, it's just that the Germans have got better at making the Schwerweld projectors. So you've got sort of the early versions, the Type 1s, and you've got the Type 2. So if you've got an eyeball turret, still totally legal in game, worth mentioning. And yeah, it makes sense for it to still be there. They've not just shuffled it away or anything like that. So basically you take this bit here, stick it in there, and then you've got your searchlight, and that's good. Probably, I'm guessing it's going to go on top there, and you're pretty much good to go. Now, what I wanted to show you here is I want to see if you can see that text I was talking about before, with it being in the same font. See what I mean? It's such a nice, tiny little detail. But the fact that it's in the Konflikt 47 font, like look at the Z with like the line through it and everything. The fact that it's in the Konflikt 47 font, such a small, unnecessary detail. But in many ways, it's very necessary because it shows that this product, this whole game, passes the vibe check. And I think that's one of the best things about Konflikt 47. We've spent a little bit of time today comparing these models to things like Warhammer 40k models, but I think it's important to remember that this game isn't good because it's not Warhammer 40k. This game is good on its own two legs. These models are good based on their own merits. And whilst there's always going to be that natural inclination to compare this to other games, I mean, that's what we do as humans, we like to compare things. This game is good because it is good. These models are good because they are good, not because they're just not GW. They are good in their own right. Quick side note here, just as I was packing the things back into the box, I noticed the truly most unnecessary assembly guide, truly the smallest assembly guide. I thought the Style Trooper one was short, but the Nactil Band one is, I mean, they are basically like 1 or 2 piece models. So it's still nice to have it, but yeah, it uses here, Nactil Band 3 is a single piece miniature and does not require assembly. There you go. It's still nice to have, but I just think it's funny how some of these assembly guides are so short because the models are just so inherently easy to build. But you know what? I think that just about does it for this unboxing video. And here we have the full contents on display for your viewing pleasure. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Really interested to hear what you guys think about this big bundle. And if you enjoyed today's video, then don't forget to go ahead and smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Redfield, 32, Jurgens, Miasma, Try Again, Bragg, RJ, Scorpion, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Nicholas Walsh, John Stubbs, Guardian, Varney, Sword, Fish Trombone, Pickalock the Forged. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.